already established. On the 6th of June 2011, the 7th National Assembly was inaugurated for another 4-year legislative term. It is my pleasure and privilege to address you on this auspicious occasion to commemorate 2012 Democracy Day and first year anniversary of this administration. I thank Almighty God who has made it possible for us to witness this great day. May 29 has now become a symbol of our struggle to entrench civil rule after decades of military intervention. It had not been an easy struggle. It was a struggle fraught with danger, and there were times when it seemed that we may never get there. It is indeed a tribute to the stupendous willpower of Nigerians and their sheer perseverance that we are where we are today. There is a tendency sometimes to denigrate the gains of our democracy, a tendency to rule out the disappointments, the areas in which democracy has failed to change people's lives. It is a tendency to conclude that democracy has failed. It is true that after a dozen of years of multi-party rule, our people are still poor, but the crime rate is still up, and millions are still jobless. It is even true that democracy has got its own special kind of problems, yet democracy has never been an end in itself, but a process. Unlike all processes, it is expected to produce certain results only if the rules are followed. Unfortunately, we have not always played by the rules. Some of the basic rules include free and fair elections, popular participation in governance, a cocktail of freedoms, separation of powers, and good governance. Once the process is sabotaged by circumventing any of these, democracy is undermined, and all sorts of problems begin to manifest. The legislature and democracy. The legislature is a very critical and strategic important arm of government. No country can effectively operate a robust democracy without a viable and virile legislation. In the past 13 years, the National Assembly of Nigeria has worked assiduously towards making laws for peace, order, and good governance of our people. For the first legislative year of the 7th National Assembly, the House of Representatives has introduced 269 bills. Of these, 114 bills have already passed the critical second reading stage. On the area of oversight, which is the second function of the legislature, routine performance and evaluation of other arms of government by the committees of the legislature has assisted in guiding projects and program execution. Still, in furtherance of the oversight functions, the National Assembly has had to carry out investigations into critical areas of our economy. The revelations have no doubt been startling. We wish to emphasize that the object of these investigations is not to withstand anybody, but to ensure that the principles and practice of public accountability is moved from the realm of sheer rhetoric to that of reality. These investigations are fundamental constitutional duties of the legislature. It is, however, important to state that the benefit of the public that under the doctrine of the separation of powers, one legislature has passed resolutions on the recommendations of such investigative reports, turned in by its committees. Implementation is the statutory duty of the executive. Another challenge is the issue of assent to bills passed by the National Assembly. I can recall the chairperson of the Nigerian Council of Women Affairs made reference to the bill passed by the National Assembly in the 6th session. In as much as it is the constitutional duty of the legislature to pass laws, it is equally the constitutional responsibility of Mr. President to assent to say. It is, however, disturbing to note that the executive has achieved away from this responsibility by not assenting to bills passed by the National Assembly. This made the legislative process cumbersome. Some of these bills have to be reintroduced. This is not a healthy situation for the executive-legislature relationship. Neither does this portray a democracy in good light among community of nations. Representation is the third function of the legislature. It denotes the power of the people to either act directly or through their representatives. In this regard, I wish to allude to the issue of budgeting. The executive arm is made up of only 2 elected functionaries, to which the President and the Vice President. Whereas the National Assembly is a body of 469 elected functionaries. The added 2 heads are better than 1 is reinforced by that which says, he who wears the shoe knows better where it pinches, and both favor the position of the elected representatives. In the people's wisdom enunciated in the 1999 Constitution as amended, the legislature has the final say in the budget document by way of a veto, where the right of final say is resisted. The National Assembly has acted responsibly and cautiously in the exercise of this power, in the belief that the executive will come to terms with this reality before long. Progress achieved. In the area of international governance and perception, never forget that before our return to democratic rule in May 1999, we were a pioneer nation. Our reputation among the community of nations was in tatters. Since then, however, the National Assembly, which hit the ground running by immediately participating in numerous parliamentary international conferences, helped to assure the international community that Nigeria was indeed ready to take its rightful place in the world. Indeed, by the year 2000, barely 1 year later, the National Assembly delegation to Africa, Caribbean, Pacific, and European Union, ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly, hosted the world in Abuja for the 30th session of the Assembly. The event and several others like it gave the world a different image of Nigeria from the usual dish served by the international media. The superb role that the same president has played over the years as the leader of the National Assembly delegation to the International Parliamentary Union, IP, has served in no small measure in enhancing the bilateral and multilateral relationship that we have with other countries all over the world. Indeed, in terms of parliamentary politics, Nigerian parliamentarians have acquitted themselves well. They have managed so swiftly to get the respect of their colleagues from other parliaments that many of our colleagues in the Senate and the House of Representatives have been elected at various times to head different parliamentary bodies. We have produced the Deputy Speaker and now the Speaker of the House Parliament, distinguished Deputy Senate President, Senator Ike Uberemadu. We have a member of the House of Representatives as current Vice President of the Pan-African Parliament, who is spellbound to win the presidency of that important body today by the grace of God. We have sundry members of the National Assembly as chairs of committees and working groups of different international union of lawmakers. In my work as the leader of the country delegation to the ACPC conference for many years, I have come to see how nations can establish great relationships through the work their parliamentarians do. It is an invaluable resource for enhancing international parliamentary diplomacy. Today, our National Assembly has established over a dozen of parliamentary friendship groups with parliaments around the world, and we are always ready to make these platforms available for the executive in aid of any agreement the nation wishes to see ratified or similar parliamentary diplomatic intervention. Just as we have discussed progress in the area of interparliamentary intercourse, it is important to recognize the progress made in the area of respect for the independence of the arms of government. In the 1999-2007 Obasanjo dispensation, there was reckless executive interference in the affairs of the National Assembly on the part of the federal government in relation to the other. I'm proud to say that things have since changed for the better. Between 2007 and 2011, although Jonathan years to date, the federal executive has exercised commendable maturity in ensuring that it does not interfere in the affairs of the National Assembly. Accordingly, at the inauguration of the 6th of June 2011, the Senate chose its presiding officers by consensus, whereas in the Green Chambers, where there was no consensus candidate, the presiding officers were elected through a free and fair election. Another area where progress has been recorded is the capacity of the legislature to rise serious national challenges. In 2010, for example, there was serious leadership crisis arising from the protracted illness of dead President Aminu. The National Assembly, by concurrent resolution of the two chambers, invoked the doctrine of necessity to resolve the impasse. The amendment of the 2009 Constitution is another landmark achievement by the legislature. The Sixth Assembly broke the jinx that had plagued all previous attempts at constitutional amendment. These amendments effectively addressed the bottlenecks that had created debilitating hiccups in the nation's electoral process. The impact of these amendments in April 2011 elections were clearly manifested, as indeed acknowledged by President Iran. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am operating within a fixed time frame, and I do not intend to overstay my welcome. In conclusion, therefore, it is evident that the legislature has made appreciable contribution to the deepening of our fledgling democracy in the face of doubting challenges. Our joy and pride, however, is not in the overall progress achieved, which by the goals set out we consider marginal, but in our zeal, determination, and resolve to give the best to our fatherland. From this scope, I have the mandate of all our members of the House of Representatives to assure Nigerians that they can count on us. On the issue of petroleum industry bill raised by my brother, Mr. Waziri, we are awaiting the executive version of the DIP bill. The Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources has put up a team that is working on that bill, and we are waiting patiently for that bill. The National Assembly wishes the entire Nigerian people thought-provoking Democracy Day celebration. May Almighty God continue to prosper and protect us all. Thank you.